How to use a lifeline. Hi everyone, Norman here. Have you ever wondered what these little holes here at the end of your interchangeable knitting needles are for? Well, besides screwing them tight, you can use them to insert a lifeline as you go. A lifeline is a simple thread that will act as a stopper when you need to unravel your work to fix a mistake or redo a section. Here is how that works. So, whenever you feel you want to place a lifeline, a security thread that will enable you to go back to this very point, you thread a piece of spare yarn through this little hole. Now, I typically use fishing line because it's see-through and it's very easy to work with. Some people also use dental floss, and as it is a little bit more visible, I will use this for the tutorial, but normally I would use a fishing line. And then you pull it through the little hole, pull it all the way through. You could even tie a little knot, but typically that's not needed. And then you just pick up your work and start knitting according to your pattern. And what will happen, well, this is a little bit anticlimactic, but what will happen as you knit, it will drag this little piece of dental floss, in this case, along as you knit. Now, my sample piece here is a little bit shorter than a usual project, but then see, you can drag it through and then just remove it here from this end and continue knitting. And in that manner, see, you added the little bit of dental floss here below the needle. I'm gonna knit a couple of more rows so you can see it a little bit clearer. Oh, and just one note here, as you knit across, of course, you only knit your stitches. You just ignore the lifeline and keep it below your needles, and that's why I prefer fishing line, because it's very thin, so very easy to ignore, and on top of that you can see the stitches quite perfectly. But you just knit across and then turn around and continue knitting, and here see, you attached this little lifeline below. If you are using the ADI interchangeable knitting needles, which of course don't have the hole to screw things tight here at the end of the needle, that's the whole point of this interchangeable knitting needle, so that you will find the lifeline, well, slit here at the end of the cord, where you can also pull through your lifeline. And then later on, when you have to unravel, maybe it's a complicated lace or brioche project and all the other forms of fixing a mistake with a crochet hook or so don't work. Well, you simply pull out your knitting needles and then you unravel your project. Carefully wind your ball as you go so you don't end up with a big tangle. And then see here, my lifeline acts as a stopper, and I just pick up my knitting needle again and pick up all stitches like that. If one of the stitches kind of unraveled into the lifeline, then don't worry, just pick up the stitch one row below and fix it with a crochet hook, and then you can just pull out the lifeline, or actually just keep it in and continue knitting from there. Pick up your working yarn again and start knitting and hopefully fix things. You can also add a lifeline as an afterthought. So maybe you forgot placing a lifeline, then you could pick up a tapestry needle and a spare thread of yarn. I typically use a spare circular knitting needle, preferably one with maybe 1 or 2 sizes smaller, and then always go into the right leg. The selvage is a bit more difficult. Always go into the right leg of each little stitch of that row. So here's always a knit stitch, and I always pick up the right leg of each little stitch. Let me get to the end of the row. Make sure to also pick up the edge stitch, and then I could unravel my work. Where is the working yarn? There is the working yarn, sorry. I can unravel my work and see my stitches are already nice and neat on my needles, and I can just continue knitting from there. Now mind you, if you're working with a black fussy yarn and a lace pattern, this method probably doesn't work and it's a bit too complicated to find the stitches in a single row, but for simple projects like stockinette stitch or so, this works. Anyway, I hope I was able to show you how to use a lifeline in knitting. Comment below if you have any questions. Happy knitting and enjoy the rest of your day.